Morning all, and welcome back to the channel, Hyphens Classics. Right, we're going to jump back and do a little bit more on the rear suspension. So a couple of things. Last episode I showed you how we had some issues with the near side trailing arm, had to replace that. I did make some of these, and I think I was wondering what I'd done with them. So of course, as normal, you make another set because you can't find them, and after you've made another set and put them in, you find the original ones. Still, never mind. So in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to go around to do the tighten up all of the nuts and bolts. Well, the ones that don't need to be undone again or loosened off to do the wheel alignment. So we're going to go through and do all that. Start buttoning up a few of the other little, finish off a couple of the little tasks that we need to complete. So we'll go through and do that. And then the other thing, we did start putting on the rear brakes. So these have come back from Ashley Birch. He's had a tough time with these because they were quite dirty, but he's done a good job. And what we're going to do now, we're going to go over the bench because I want to pull the innards out again and clean that up, make sure everything's clean, nice, got new seal for inside there as well. And then hopefully we'll get those on the car. There's one thing I know I'm still missing from the brakes system, and that's the little springs clips that the pads sit in. I also need some brake fluid, and I've been looking around to see what I should get. Posted on my Facebook page, Hyphens Classics, just a question. Actually no, I posted it in the R53 Owners Club, asking a question around a couple of different Miller's race brake fluids, just to sort of see if anyone's used them and see what people think of them. So anyway, we're going to jump into the videos now. I'm going to go around. As I said, we're going to show you tightening up the bolts, putting these in, and also putting on the brake caliper carriers at the back. And then what we'll do, so I did do some early footage as well of working on the new pistons for here. I did put the innards, the handbrake parts, components inside, swap them over from the old to the new. Now the problem is I had issues with my GoPro at the time, or shall I say I accidentally set it on the wrong setting and ended up, rather than a time lapse, I ended up with about 2,000 photos of the process, which I'm struggling to see how and what's best to actually provide that content to you. So we'll see what we can do to try and deliver that. But what we're going to do is make sure the settings are right in the camera, and then we're going to go do that. But first of all, let's have a look at the tightening torques. Okay, so as I mentioned before, on this bottom control arm I'm going with a straight bolt, no concentric nuts. So what I've done is made these inserts, there's one on each side. That's just going to pop in there, goes in one way, there we go. So that's just going to sit in there nicely. Just might try. No, it was that way. Now, which way did it fit in? There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, so that sits in there, and that just helps stop this bolt from moving around too much. I mean, it's pretty tight in there anyway, but there was a small amount of movement, and so this will just help keep everything rock steady, and then all the camber can be done on the control arms. Okay, yeah, that one there can be tightened up. Right, wheel sensors and brake pad sensors. So we've got a new brake pad sensor. So one of the parts that's just come in recently. I had read, and I've seen a few times where you should really use the R53 wheel sensors. So I have put the old R53 wheel sensors in, but the problem with them, actually, where there is one, there it is there. Let's come around here. Hang on a sec. Right, so the problem, so with the R53s, you can see that's a uniform circumference all the way along. Whereas when you look at the R56, you can see here, if that will focus properly. There we go. So you can see that the sensor's the same, but they've got this extra piece. And what that is, the hole in the back of the trailing arm is larger. If we can see it, where is it? There it is, right there. Now, my view, my humble opinion, and it's nothing more, is that the R53s, these things, get stuck. They rot in there, and then they get stuck in there. Now, they're not so bad on the rear, but on the fronts, very much so, because the problem is in here, obviously they sit like this, well, like that arguably, in the back. Now in the fronts they sit down like this, and obviously you get water, crap in there, and then they just get stuck in there. As you've probably noticed in the last video, we had to drill one out of one of the hubs, and the one that came out was one that I had replaced, well, a few years ago now, but the other one's only been in there for 15 years. So here we have the R56 sensors, and we're just going to pop all those in. I'm not going to film all of it, because I think you've seen me put the R53 sensors in, so you probably don't need to see these ones. But I thought I'd just give you a quick view of what they're like. Okay, quick look from underneath. The blue one is the wheel sensor, black one is the brake pad. So the blue one follows up, goes onto this nice little clip here, goes through onto the subframe, through onto through on the subframe, down through onto the shock, and then around and up, and the wheel sensor will go up into there. The brake pad sensor has got these little tabs on, which you just wrap round at the intervals that are there. Make sure that you're putting, you can see that it's got that little edge there that goes up against the other cable like this, and then you just zip it round. So obviously just got that on this side. We only have a wheel sensor on the other side. So while we're here as well, I thought we'd have another look with the tank in here. Good thing is I've just had a message from the powder coater, and I think he's got a very close yellow to this for the rear calipers, which is going to be fantastic. So anyway, we'll hope some of this footage that I'm taking is useful. Okay, right, here goes. We have to take this off. I don't know if you'll see much in there, but I can already see plenty of damage on the end here, so where that hasn't picked up. So drop link's got to come off. We'll take the hub off later. Control arm's got to drop off, and obviously the trailing arm bolt itself will have to come off. I've removed the sensor already. Obviously the bolt for the coilover is already gone. Actually the bottom control arm's already out. We just got to take that top control arm out. So, and then it's going to be a very pretty piece of aluminium. There was possible talk that you could helicoil that. I really don't know. I guess you helicoil engines, so maybe, possibly, don't know. But for me right now, there's another one over there that's going in. I'm not going to concern myself whether you can helicoil things or not. This one's coming out, and yeah, we'll see what happens with it. Right, let's get into it. So here they are, the rears, R56 style rear brakes. in lovely yellow. So a very big thanks to Ashley Birch from AB Powder Coating. He put quite a lot of effort into getting these right, because these are aluminium and they were quite dirty, and with all the oils that are involved in brakes, he really struggled to get these as good as he was happy with to get these out. But he persevered and got it all done, and obviously all the internals as well, getting those in and out were a bit of a challenge. So appreciate your effort there, and yeah, looking forward to getting these on the car now. So we've got the pads, we've got a number of the components, all the new bits and pieces, new seals, rubbers, etc. To go in. Bought new pistons as well. Just thought, why not? Probably could have cleaned these up, but everything else is going in new, so we're going to do that. So what we have to do, we're going to try and work on some of the dirty stuff. What I've realized as well is I should have sent these off to Ashley as well. He could have cleaned those up for me. Completely forgot about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on the dirty stuff first, then clean the hands up, so that we don't end up making too much of a mess as we put everything back together. So what we'll do, we're going to try and clean up these as best as possible, and then what we're going to do, we've got to take these center pieces out of the old pistons, and they'll go into the new, and then there's a couple of nuts and bolts which I should have also sent off to Ashley, because as we can see here, so these are from the front hubs. Ashley's nicely cleaned those up for me, which is really good. These bolts will obviously attach these onto the rear trailing arm, so we can go and put those on at some point as well. In fact, while I've got clean-ish hands, maybe that's exactly what we'll start with. Alright, so just want to put those on, and that colour match of the yellow, not that we tried to colour match it, but that's actually not too bad. That's come out quite well. I think they're going to look quite good. Right, we'll pop the other side on. Well, what I might do actually is, just looking at these bolts, I might give them a little bit of clean, and what I want to also do is I want to make sure, because these are not aluminium, these are cast iron or steel or whatever. What we'll do is I'll check to see if we've got something. I'll probably put some grease or something over this, so that we don't have any issues in the future. We'll put a thin layer of grease over that, and we might do something about these bolts, clean them up just a little bit more than they are. Right, let's get into it. So we've got the rear caliper brake carriers on the car, and next we've got this issue that I've had with the GoPro. Well, I should stop saying that. It's not an issue with the GoPro. I accidentally hit the settings when I was holding it from the front. Must have flicked up the settings, and I changed it from time-lapse video to time-lapse photographs. So you'll see a few of them now. I'm letting a few of them roll, but I'm just going to end the video here for today. So this is quite a long one anyway. So this series almost completes the rear suspension. All we've really got to do now is button up a couple of things. I just need to get those rear brakes on, and the wheels on, and down it'll go, and then we'll be away. So hopefully next we've got the video of the fronts coming together. All the bits and pieces have come together, so we just filmed all that. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Please remember, hit the like button, subscribe, and please do remember to comment on any of the stuff that you've seen today, anything you want to know about, or anything you think I should be doing better or differently. Would love to hear from you. Take care from now, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.